Yes, so that's what I think about that. You just take what's good for you, what resonates, and leave what doesn't. This whole experience brought up a memory of a dream that I had a while before this, and I can't remember how long before it was, how long before this meditation it was, but it was extremely relevant. I felt in this dream I was walking along somewhere with a man. I didn't really know him or recognise him at all. It's no one that I knew or had ever seen. And I don't recall what we were saying to each other. But at some point, as we were walking along, he disappeared behind me. And then all of a sudden I felt these arms going over the top of my shoulders and pinning me down. So it's like this guy gone behind, and then suddenly these arms had come over, like his arms, and was pinning me to him. But he didn't seem that tall when I was talking to him, but he must be quite big. And he was very, very strong. He was pinning me tight. So strongly that he pinned me so strongly that I could not move. And then I heard this noise. It was really, really loud, really low frequency, rumbling growl. So, I can't even do it. And it was such a low vibratory that everything vibrated. It was scary. It was a very scary growl. It really was frightening. It's the sort of thing that just sends shivers at you. My feeling was at the time, I thought, oh my God, I thought it was a reptilian. I don't think I've ever met a reptilian being or any interaction with them, but I thought this was going to be it. I thought this was a reptilian being. It's weird because they're supposed to be very aggressive, basic in their roaring and eating other flesh and that sort of thing. So they were and they're big and strong and powerful beings. And I thought, oh my God, it's a reptilian being. And I thought, having read and heard many things about reptilians, so I've never met them. I believe there are enlightened and very positive and peaceful reptilian beings as well. So let's not tie them all with the same brush. But there are some that are horrible, just like there's horrible people. Anyway, there's different races of reptilians as well, apparently. Anyway, so I was just afraid that I was going to be chewed. So I was quite afraid for a few seconds or so, because these things happen quite quick. But then I realised a couple of things. And the first thing was that actually I'm not afraid of death. I had a sort of kind of near-death experience when I was in my early 20s, and that cured me of the fear of death from the start. So that was the first thing. And the second thing was, because of my experiences of not being, of having my other self, not being human, and all these sort of things, I realised that I understood that I'm an immortal being, and this is just a journey through as a human experience. So nothing is real, and only the creation of energy. So the reptilian beings who want to chew on you, to cause pain, suffering, and fear, feed on this mixture, and I think that's one of the terminologies for louche, is that is like a mixture of not physical stuff, but also it's emotion and fear, suffering, and pain. And I think the reptilian beings, they feed on that. As much as they might feed on flesh, they feed on that. And I thought, well, I'm not afraid of death. So if one comes out of the darkness and starts to bite me, it's going to give me a shock, but I won't give it fear, all of that stuff that it wants. I became a bit emboldened with that. I thought I might be more of an empty victim for it. And the pain will be short-lived because I wouldn't live for long if it started chewing on me. They got to a point where I was like, because nothing was coming, I just heard this growl, and I was like, right, come on then. And I shouted, come on in, come and get me, come on. And I was begging it to come out, just get on with it. Seemed like a little while passed, and nothing happened. No reptilian stepped out of the darkness. Nothing started chewing on me. And the reason that this is connected with Rani is that when I was talking to Ruth about this, and I said, oh, maybe it was something else. I thought maybe it was, because I heard in shamanic circles, shamanism. I'm not into shamanism, but I know people who were. and Ruth did shamanism. And I said, oh, but I heard that one of the things people have said, they've had a wolf come up, stand up on its hind legs, put their paws over the shoulders of someone as a protection. So maybe it was like a wolf or something. Ruth said, no, it was Rani. She sort of looked into it and said, no, it was Rani. That made more sense to me, because the absolute depth and power of that growl. If you ever heard a big cat growl, well, that's something else. And I think about that, oh yeah, that's what it, oh okay. So actually, Rani was showing he's my protector, he's protecting me, and that was his growl. And more interestingly, as it went on, Ruth felt that she actually, like, part of her is Rani. So that's why we're still connected, me and Ruth, and we talk a lot about stuff, because she feels that another part of her is Rani, like another part of me is someone else, another part of her is Rani. But she can feel that she's different beings, but she definitely feels that part of her is Rani as well, which is really interesting. And also, so on that note, Ruth has had a lot more experiences herself with Rani, and what she has passed on to me, because she's connected with Rani, and apparently we all know each other from before this human experience and came here on this mission, this human mission, whatever it is, or this human experience. And she's got more information on what we're doing here and the connection. So Rani is an ambassador for his race of line beings, and he attends Galactic Federation meetings. And apparently he knows me because apparently, I have no idea, that I'm something high up in the hierarchy of my race, my own race. I don't feel like I'm anything special, other than these experiences. But when I say hierarchy in my race, hierarchy is different to hierarchy on Earth. On Earth, on this planet, a hierarchy is like the royals or something. They think they're above everyone else, and they rule the people, and they sort of like they can get away with murder and horrible things. And that's not the case. These more enlightened ET races, I'm not sure how people can become in the hierarchy, but everyone's more equal. There's more of the oneness going on. They have a higher vibration, and it's just that someone has agreed, has got the right personality and traits to be a leader of something, or to be in certain positions. A little bit like we have politicians, but they sort of tend to tell us what to do, although politicians nowadays have forgotten that they are our servants. We are not their servants. So I'm somewhere in the hierarchy of things. Ruth is saying that she's actually been to Galactic Federation meetings as Rani, and you hear about the Galactic Federation and all that sort of thing. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But she's been into meetings with things because she's quite empathic and as a human, even more so I think as Rani. She's been called to do these sort of things. I don't have memory of that sort of thing. But in the Cosmic Agency, they talk about the hierarchy of the Pleiadians. There's a Pleiadian queen, okay, nothing like England or any other royalty on this planet. And her name was Alanim. It's someone else now, apparently. But at the time, it was Alanim. And I did have a dream memory, I think, when I was, of me being whatever my name is. I'm not sure what my name is, actually, as this blue being. I remember it was sort of two dreams that are related to each other, were unconcurrent. And I remember being on it must have been a ship, it was like a building, but these spaceships are absolutely massive. And it's some big spaceship. And I was standing or going along, walking along, and I was standing to the side of this bunch of people. But they were, I think, I can't even remember, they're all ladies. And a lot of these Pleiadians, a lot of ladies have in a lot of big positions in Pleiadian society. I think it's more of a matriarchal rather than patriarchal society. Apparently I'm comical as this being that I am. I think I'm quite a big being. I was looking down on these beings, on these very human, like Pleiadian like. I think they were Pleiadian. There's a point to that. And I said, no hablo español, which means, I don't speak Spanish. But when I was trying to say it, I found it really difficult to talk. I was saying about lions can speak, but I find it really difficult to form their mouths and say the words. I was having a very similar problem with speaking. People. So I stopped and turned and looked at me, like shocked looking. And I remember internally I was giggling to myself. Like this. And they were like just looking at me. Like, what the hell? I was finding it highly amusing. So this other dream, cut to scene 2, as it does in dreams and that sometimes. I was getting in and out of a suit. So parts of this could be, it's like telling you something, but it's not an exact representation of it. Anyway, I was getting in and out of a suit, and I was in this massive pool. I was at the side of the pool, like this massive pool, and there were massive pillars going down the side of the pool. And I was in this pool, and my arms on the side, and it was like a big oblong pool. And right down the end, it was big, this pool. I saw this gaggle of people, ladies coming along. This one lady split off from the group, walked up the side towards me, kneeled down, and whispered something in my ear. I remember looking at her face, and I was plain as day. I kind of remember her face, and she had blonde hair, and she had these plaits that went down the side of her hair down to the back. She had long hair, and I could see her nose and the fullness of her lips and everything. I don't know what she said. And then she said something, and then she went off. She wanted to impart something to me. And then the next day, or a day or so later, I was watching one of the Cosmic Agency channel's videos, and it had Alanin on there. And they were talking about Alanin. They had a picture of Alanin. And it's not exactly like she looks, but as soon as I saw this picture, I was like, oh my God, that's her. It didn't look like her. She looked different, the woman that I saw, but I just knew inside, it's like I knew I was getting the message. And that was Alanin that had spoken to me. So it was really interesting. So that's like a confirmation for me that the Cosmic Agency's information, a lot of it is genuine. And I don't know what she said to me. I couldn't remember. I remember feeling quite happy about it. The next day when I woke up, I had a skip in my step, and I don't know why. And that was after I had that dream. But it was Alanin, and she was with other ladies, and I think she had security, and the other ladies were security lady bodyguards, and that was the bunch of people that were walking along. So that's another connection there.